Welcome to the Football Gods channel. We are beaming with excitement as Arsenal fans, as you all know. I'm your host today, Gamza, not the original host, as Debo likes to say, and I'm joined by my fellow guests, Debo and Ntokozo. How are you guys doing this lovely evening?
Oh man, you've described it perfectly. I'm doing lovely. I'm doing very good.
And Debo,
Ah, it's whatever, man. Not, yeah, I guess I'm just 50-50. Okay, I didn't lose. That's just a disappointing game. But hey, I guess today was just exciting as well to see at least Man City have a kink in their armor. So
yeah.
game on.
Chink.
With that being said,
Kink, yeah.
with that being said, let's
Kink.
actually
When you say
start.
kink, you're speaking about something else. Sorry.
Kinky.
With that being said, let's actually get into match day 11 review, starting off with Man United. I know in our preview, I had said that I'm worried about Newcastle United, and you guys were actually saying, actually, Ntokozo, not Nkulego. I'd be lying if I said Nkulego. Ntogo, you particularly said that Man United at St. James Park always win, and you were so confident with that statement. What do you have to say
Hmm.
right now, considering they had a goalless draw, actually?
It was at
Your
Old
thoughts?
Trafford.
What did I say? I said St. James's Park, right? So they didn't play at St. James's Park. They played at Old Trafford.
But you
So
were still confident
my
that Man United
information,
would
no,
win.
yeah, no, okay. All jokes aside, I did think United would win because you guys have a good record against Newcastle. So I did think Man United would win. Super happy that you didn't. And I watched a bit of the game. Oh, what a boring game. I mean, obviously, I was watching the Arsenal, which was delayed. So in the delay, I managed to see a few minutes of the Man United game. Ah, I don't know. I was so surprised because United played very well against Everton. So I thought, you guys were building up some momentum. You're finding your feet. And look, I understand it's still early days, so you are going to have probably just as much bad games as you are going to have good games at this early stage in Ten Hag's career. But yeah, I have to say I'm surprised. But then again, like I was checking the lot. Newcastle have only lost once this season, right? And that was
Mm,
against Liverpool. And they were
yeah,
probably unlucky to lose that game
yeah.
from what I remember. So Newcastle are not a bad team at all. So Nkolek, I remember you were saying that this is going to be a very tough game. And I think you were spot on. It wasn't an easy game for you guys.
Yeah.
Nkulego?
Yeah,
I
I could
know.
I could see the the Europa is actually, yeah, it does take a toll on teams, having to play Thursday and come back and play like on a Sunday. And it's not I guess an expensive squad like like your likes of City would have. I could see like they didn't have that that aggression because on Thursday they they were playing on the front foot and they scored near the end. So Ten Hag couldn't like change a lot of players and all that. And you could see against Newcastle because Newcastle are more of a pressing team now. Like they didn't actually hold back. They were taking it to Man United as well. Tougher team and defensively they even solid. It just shows that there's still some depth needed from Man United. It was a flat match. Like they it was really like they had nil written all over it. You could see like that lack of energy.
Yeah, just to digress a bit, eh? While you were actually speaking, I was thinking in the back of my head. Do you think that Champions League playing teams have an advantage over Europa playing teams, considering that Europa is played on a Thursday and an EPL match is usually played on a Saturday or Sunday? Do you think that extra day of rest gives Champions League teams or teams that actually don't play in any of the European championships an opportunity to an edge over the opponents that do?
It does.
But it's okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I think if you don't have a squad depth, it does take a toll because the teams, EPL is very demanding. It's a demanding league. Like no team, get a field day with any team. They always, competitive. So I, I haven't seen like teams in Europa that actually end up doing well in the EPL, like in recent history. It's like you have to choose
Mm,
one over the other.
mm.
Progression in Europa means, you sacrificing your EPL form to date. Yeah, that's what I've seen.
I mean, just to make an example of what I'm trying to say, which I think you understood it. Man United played on Thursday, and then you're playing again on Sunday, right? Liverpool, ManCity played on a Tuesday. So they kind of had like an extra day,
Mm.
an extra day of rest over Europa playing
Yeah,
championship teams.
yeah. So like, I mean, sometimes, right? But I mean, there's also games that are played on Wednesdays, right, in the Champions League. So I mean, then it still equates to the same amount of 3 days rest or whatever it is. So only in the instance where teams play on Tuesday, do they have and do Champions League teams have an advantage? But one can also argue that I mean the intensity of Champions League games is higher than that of Europa League games. So it takes more out of the Champions League teams when they play
Yeah.
a Champions League level game versus a Europa League level game, right? So like
Which,
there's many arguments like for and against. Like also the whole thing about rest, like you can look at it as yes, of course, having more rest is good. So this is now speaking from the perspective of teams who don't have European football versus ones that do. But on the same time, on the other side of the coin, there's the whole issue of rhythm and momentum, right? The more games you play, the more rhythm and momentum you build. So it's always good to play as many games as possible. But then again, there's the issue about squad depth and all of that stuff. So, like, I think you can argue any case, really, and
sure.
I don't want to say it's a conversation not worth having, but like, I really don't think it's as big a deal as sometimes people make it out to be.
I agree with you. But when you're on the losing end of things, managers tend to use that as an excuse,
Of course, of course.
which is annoying. And speaking on your first point where you spoke about the intensity of Champions League versus that of Europa, let's talk in a month. I think there will be blurred lines between Europa and UEFA because Juve and Barcelona will be in the Europa League. That intensity, we're about to see some interesting things happen in a month or so. But yeah, let's
Facts.
leave it for then.
Facts.
Okay. Next game I want to speak about Leeds United versus Arsenal. And if I remember from our preview, Ntolos was very confident that we're going to beat Leeds United at least 2-0. We can go back to the clip. I know it was more than one goal. And I said I am very worried about that game. And Derbo, you had mentioned also that you are quite confident that Arsenal will win by a high scoring margin. Here we are, we won 1-0 with a lot of referee issues in the game. And also
We're lucky.
with the energies, with Arsenal's team's energy depleted, you could actually see that Europa was catching up to them.
Good point there. But to that point of refs, guys, I've been very disappointed with the level of refereeing this season in the APL. It's been shocking.
This
I don't know.
season,
I don't know. I don't know. Like, okay, I would say VAR. Like, I have an issue with VAR, but there's nothing wrong with VAR. It's actually the refs themselves. Like the level of officiating. I don't understand. Okay, there's this new rule that refs are now allowed to allow like a certain level of excessive force, in a match. Don't blow for everything. It's football is a contact sport, but there's some like obvious fouls like that, should be called. If you pull a player down, That's like illegal. 50-50, you understand. You pull a player down, that's a foul. Using your hands, it's a foul. Like the amount of things that players are getting away with now, I'm over VAR. It's really annoying.
It's inconsistent, right? It's
Hmm.
inconsistent. That's why I say VAR must only be used for offsides. I think let's just leave this other stuff, like because like it really isn't making any difference as far as eliminating or reducing the human error
Hmm.
thing of it. And like I think that's okay, right? I mean, we've watched football that way for literally our whole lives. And like we've accepted it as part of the game.
Hmm.
Like it's part of the
Mm,
emotional roller coaster of the game. And we understand, I mean, we're humans, we are mature enough to get that niggas will make mistakes. Like it's
Hmm.
fine. I mean, obviously, if it's against your team, you're angry for that moment and it's screw the ref this and whatever, yes, but you understand with okay, no, it's a mistake. So now that you've got the thing that can help you eliminate the mistake and you can't use it properly, I think that's what makes everyone even angrier now. And that you're doing it inconsistently. That's
Yeah.
the real point of contention. So it's just like my
mm.
thing is let's just use it for offside, guys, and let the refs make their mistakes. It's fine. We'll forgive them. Like
Yeah.
it's
And
okay.
Yeah.
also just a question, guys. Like, okay, I think I'm not understanding what VAR is used for, right? Because they say if it's like a clear and obvious error, it comes in. But sometimes a ref makes a decision within a match, then VAR, overrides it. And they say that if the ref has made a decision, it cannot be overridden. So when
Mm.
is VAR actually used? Like, and where do they actually? I actually don't understand now.
Okay, so from my understanding, right, VAR was supposed to be a tool to the referees, not just the one in the game, to all the referees. It was just meant to be a tool to substantiate or to put some gravitas behind the decisions,
Mm.
not VAR making the decisions for the referee. But at the moment, I'm finding it quite confusing because the referee, like you mentioned, makes a decision and it's overridden by VAR, or VAR suddenly makes the decision and it's overridden by the ref. So we don't know who holds authority now in the game. Is it the referee or is it VAR? I understand they need to be working together like in parallel. But at the end of the day, the referee is the one that makes the final decision. But in most games that I've watched this year, one day it's the referee who makes the decisions, the next day it's VAR who makes the decision. So can somebody tell us from FIFA that what is the purpose of VAR? What is the purpose of the referee? How do they work together in conjunction to each other? Otherwise, we don't know what's happening right now.
I, dude, might as well let AI be the refs now, right? Clearly,
Yeah,
humans are.
the inconsistency is ridiculous.
Whenever the ref goes to that screen, know that he's gonna call it. Whenever he goes there, he's gonna see a penalty. But he was in front of the box watching that same thing. That means
Mm,
they concentrate less now. Refs are actually less, attentive to stuff in the
mm,
match because they know their VAR, which is it's a shame because now means that at the end of the day, like, refs are less switched on and we're getting like football sometimes, contentious things, you get away with them. Human interpretation, right? One way or another. But this VAR, I hope they fix it by the World Cup. Otherwise, I will
You
really
know
be in
what's
for
funny?
something.
I remember watching a soccer match and there was an incident that happened. And the VAR said to the main ref, please go watch in the screen and make a decision. And the ref is stuck by his decision without going to the screen. And it was actually an incident. So, like, what do we call that? So your assistant referees are saying, go watch. And you're
Mm.
saying, no, I'm going to stick to my decision. And then when VAR says this is the decision, you decide, I want to go watch. and
You
then
see
you
what
overturn VAR. So like
you know if
where like I don't understand.
VAR is needed, PSL guys. Those guys are not refs.
Africa,
Yeah,
Africa.
it's needed.
Like
That's where it's
official,
needed.
dude, officiating in Africa is just that
Dude,
one.
I once saw
That's
like sorry to deviate. I once saw a ref in an actual PSL match like laugh after showing players red cards after a match is finished. Like a match is finished, it goes to all the players. He shows them red cards. Then he laughs afterwards. That's an extra. That same ref is going to Qatar 2022. Is when I be representing
Oh my word.
I know who you're talking
Oh
about,
my
my
word.
guy.
Victor
Oh
Gomes.
my word.
Victor Gomez,
Mm.
that guy's always the star of the show. No matter
Yeah,
what, like he's going to make sure he's the star of the game.
you remember
I
what I was
hate
doing
that.
to Salah as well
Mm,
at the AFCON.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, gents. So there we have it. Liverpool bavukile.
Mm.
Bavela bavuka nje. That Champions League hat-trick that Mo Salah scored, it just tuned him in. Somehow he got tuned in, and today we saw him. Mo Salah delivered. Maybe
mm,
listen to our podcast, one of the episodes where we actually said, you know what? He's becoming on fourth list. Maybe he does watch it. Who knows? But
Mm.
he,
Kamza, can I just cut you off and just say
yeah,
something?
yeah.
Because you were calling me out earlier, so I need to whistle a squinch. Are you ready to talk about Nunes yet? Or
No,
another day?
no,
You're
another
not
day.
ready? Okay,
No,
sure.
I'm still
No,
sticking by
that's
my
all.
decision.
I just wanted to ask. Okay, no, sure, sure.
I am still sticking by my decision, and maybe let's talk 5 episodes in.
Okay,
Okay,
he's
sure.
not on the fourth list.
No,
What?
Okay,
no.
so
Okay.
This is the
Uh,
EPL, guys. It's hard to adapt, guys. Let's be
Oh,
honest.
okay. Haaland,
It's hard.
Haaland, Haaland. It's hard to adapt. Haaland, eh? Haaland, it's
Did
hard,
Haaland
eh?
score today? No, Haaland did not score today. That shows you how hard the EPL is. Mr.
Wow.
Mr. Head tricks back to back today met a declining Van Dijk, and he still couldn't score.
Mm.
So that says a lot.
It's fine. It's fine.
no,
We have
sure, it's fine. I just wanted
five.
to ask if you wanted to have the Nunes conversation. If not,
Yeah,
it's
No,
okay.
no, no. No, I can't.
fine. Okay,
I still
let's
believe in Nunes.
let's Liverpool talk then. How was this match, guys? For me, I was
Here's
It
like
my
never
question.
disappoints. It never
always.
disappoints, right? Like for me, there's always two fixtures every season that I know will never disappoint. Whether even if they can end 0-0, it's Liverpool versus Man City and it's Arsenal versus Spurs. I think those two fixtures are always the most exciting games of any Premier League season, at least for the last like 5 to 10 years, maybe. So yeah, man, like I'm super happy that Liverpool won. Um, I can't say I saw it coming, especially with the amount of injuries that Liverpool have. I think we need to commend Klopp and just the team, and also like it's these kinds of things that make you believe in like the impact of like an atmosphere, right? Like because
Mm,
like Liverpool had no rights really based on form and just quality on the pitch to beat Man City, but playing in
mm,
Anfield just creates a whole different like vibe, really,
mm.
So yeah, shout out to Klopp. Maybe this is a resurgence. I don't know who they're playing next week. Maybe they can finally kickstart their season. I like Liverpool. Like I think like I'm never like I don't have any like sort of rivalry with Liverpool the same way I have with like Man United or Chelsea and stuff like that. So I've never hated them. So even when they've been going through this slump, like it hasn't really brought me any like joy or whatever, like yeah, whatever kind of thing. So I'm happy to see that They've won. Like I say, I hope they start picking up now. Hopefully not too much. I don't want them to give us a challenge for the title. But yeah, hopefully they can finish fifth or fourth there. It's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, super happy.
Before Turbo talks, I have one question for Dave. I need to put you in check. You were saying what about Klopp again, Turbo? What were you saying about Klopp? This couple of episodes. Please elaborate on that. Share some light.
Like that one match doesn't change my stance. Like
Okay.
Liverpool were like City. We need to. You see this VR thing. Like this Haaland, their Foden goal should have stood. Yeah, whatever. Right?
Mm.
They scored of a mistake by that. What was that guy? Just his name's escaping. Honestly, I, I, I
Akanji.
still I still think City are a better team, and like it's just like you ride your luck, but I still
Okay.
haven't seen anything to convince me otherwise. They'll still make top four, but I just haven't seen any. Like they haven't changed the scale of how they play. To me, they still trying to play their best football, so to speak. Your player Nunes, I think he could be better accommodated. It doesn't
Yeah.
show that they're trying to accommodate. But yeah, to that point, I just also saw that he's also lacking in confidence, and he's gonna need more time.
Mm.
However, well done to Klopp. I guess he's able to still. One thing that he's always able to do that I can never take away from him is that he's able to, motivate players and make them play out of their form and raise their occasion. That's one thing he'll always have. But yeah, I just worry that do they have enough to be to change the way they play, the way they approach teams. Because I think with better organized teams, they can struggle. The occasion just won it for them today, I think.
Okay. I'll give you my view. Remember, on a couple of episodes that we've had, I've spoken that they've had so many injuries, caused so many disruptions, etc. But I think in the last episode, I said Robertson is a big changer, and no one seems to put that much praise for that gentleman. Robertson was in the game today, and that defense looked a little bit more solid than it usually is.
True.
But no one, once again, will praise that guy because he's not your flamboyant character. He's a James Milner of some sort, you know? And those players are very important because they're unsung heroes and they'll bring tremendous impact without the public realizing it. However, for Mo to have a one-on-one again after being denied and take his chance and score, that tells me a lot about his character. Tells me that he's really a proper goal-scoring winger or striker, whatever you want to call him. Because anyone else at that point does not have the confidence to take on this one-on-one, especially after being denied in the same game. So you'll look for your second player, and Mo Salah just looked up once and he knew where he's going to put the ball, and he did so. Yes, Haaland got chances. It wasn't his game. We know Haaland is effective. We know him. So, and it's only normal. Today it proved to us that he's not an alien. We don't need a petition. It just needs to be managed quite well. And you also kind of have to have the luck on your side as well as the atmosphere. And Klopp thrives on the atmosphere. And when Klopp is in that zone, he starts motivating the players as well. But to your point, they've won their last two games. And you are saying, Nkulego in particular, you are saying you want to see how it plays out. And I agree with you. But I'm saying in order to succeed or to build momentum, you need to win one game. You need to win the second game. You need to win the third game. By the time we start having this conversation again, we'll be talking about people that are number 3 or 4 or 2 or 1. So at some point, momentum needs to start, and it starts by winning the first game. And they're already on 2 in 1 week. So let's see how it plays out. Winning against City is not easy. Yes, I understand it's at Anfield, but it's not easy. Especially with the City with Haaland. A City without Haaland, it was still difficult for Liverpool to beat them. You know, a City with Haaland is worse. But they did it today, and with their form out of the window. So that says a lot about a team. And yeah, the atmosphere at Anfield. I don't blame Arteta playing the You'll Never Walk Alone song at training for Arsenal, because Anfield is a tough place to go to.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Pep making his first substitution in the 89th minute? After I mean,
I also didn't understand like Pep's tactics. Like for the first time, I was just disappointed in his tactics as well. Like he really.
If that's any other manager, like he's getting roasted, right? He's getting lambasted, but because it's Pep, yes, the GOAT, sharp. You know, I guess he earns a certain kind of respect, I guess. But like, I really don't understand the thinking behind that.
Dude, you have Grealish, you have Alvarez on the bench, you have Mahrez on the bench.
I'm such a Mahrez fan. Like, I really don't like how Mahrez is used at City. Like,
Bernardo Silva wasn't on. He had a poor match. He was. Gundogan. No, I'm saying he wasn't like he had a average match. Gundogan was also had an average match. Like those are guys I would have taken out like 60th minute. And you know, Liverpool, you know how their defense is, right? And Haaland was actually now starting to get, you know, more opportunities. You had someone to give him more direct balls. You know, none of those two were actually helping out. So yeah, he played to their devices today. Yeah.
But one thing I'll say, right? I am not shocked by that decision, and I'll tell you why. Pep Guardiola tends to do decisions that are very questionable at times. I'll never forget, every season he has those type of games where you like, how, Pep, why would you do that? It's like he overthinks things. Like, bro, you've got Grealish on the bench, Mahrez on the bench, bro, and Alvarez. And you can see what you have on the pitch is not working. Do something.
Dude, because like Milner was there to be cooked, bro. Like, Milner, how old is Milner? Isn't Milner also like 38 or something?
Yeah,
like,
I think about 35 there.
Dude, like Mahrez would have been cooking that guy, you know. Grealish should have been cooking that guy. Like, I don't know why they didn't target that side.
Yeah. Pep has that egotistical thing, man. He wants to be like, tactical masterclass. Like, it's about him. I've just noticed, you know, and anyway, it's fine.
And sometimes there's just obvious things that you need to do that are not complicated. Just put aside your ego. You are doing this for the club, not for yourself. Do the right thing. And he knows. He'll go back home today and he's like, I know I should have made changes. Not in the 80th minute. He knows. But of course, being Pep and having earned, like, well, kind of having that pedigree and that arrogance or egotistical behavior, he won't. He's kind of like a psychopath. Psychopaths operate like that, but also geniuses are like borderline psychopaths. So I don't blame him in a way. That's just how he's wired. But also that this game showed me something. It showed me that ManCity is not the perfect team that we thought it is. It shows me that they can actually still strengthen the team, eh? Because had they not sold Raheem Sterling, that game was a Raheem Sterling game. They needed a player like Raheem Sterling, who's just going to be or Jesus, who's going to be a nuisance. He may not score, but it's going to be a nuisance. And Haaland will get the opportunity, the tap-in opportunity that he needs. But it tells me they can actually strengthen. They do have room for improvement.
Yo, how Calvin Phillips is regretting his decision now. Like how so
Bruh.
close to a World Cup, but we know
Bruh.
Not Klopp, Southgate is his favorite. But sure, what a bad move.
Yeah. And then I know we usually don't cover this league, but for the sake of today, can we talk about El Clasico? Just for today. How did
Guys,
you get chopped 3-1?
guys, do you actually think that Xavi is like a Pep having a Spanish player bias? Like he's trying to create him and Iniesta. I know
Mm,
he played who's this guy, Frankie de Jong. And how he
mm,
keeps on benching Kessié over
mm,
Busquets. It's criminal. Like
mm.
Busquets is sold, he's old now. Like that midfield, like Real Madrid, for me, like the goals they scored were just like, you know, they were clinical. They weren't like nice interplay or anything, but Barcelona made it easy for them, to be honest.
Yeah. So I've always said, right, in the past 2 years or past 2 seasons, that Real Madrid don't have a brand of football. Like they don't play well, or they have high scoring games where they create high scoring like opportunities to score more. They don't play any form of brand. What they play is winning football. That's their brand. And it's ugly. You just don't know what's happening in that team, but they'll beat you. And that's exactly what
Mm-hmm.
happened today. We all know that what Xavi's trying to build there, it's like a mini Spain. He wants to go back to the whole World Cup 2010 where 90%
Which
of the
doesn't
players were
work
from
anymore,
Barcelona.
right?
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly, Douglas, which doesn't work anymore. And fortunately for him, he does have the talent. I mean, he put in that kid Ferran Torres and he's got the only goal. And that kid has basically been a peripheral figure this whole season.
Mm.
But you still don't think, oh, you know what? Squad rotation is important. I do have the players. But now, remember those financial levers that Barcelona were referring to? There's a risk. All I'm going to say, there's a risk. Uh, then can we just play this tape at the end of the season? All I'm saying, there's a risk. We might see something here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm saying there's going to be a documentary about Barcelona in like 3 years.
Yep.
There's going
Yep.
to be a documentary that's going to expose all these things that are happening. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, no man, Barca, Lewandowski, like Barca just bought random players. I just think also like with that being said, in as much as you're saying yes, they want to kind of recreate the whole Spain thing, I still think the players they bought was so random, bro. Like Lewandowski, Rafinha, Kaunde, Kessie, Christensen. It's like, what kind of like team are you trying to build, bro? You know what I
And
mean?
that
So
left
Bellerin,
back, who's
Bellerin,
that left back? Oh,
Bellerin,
Bellerin.
Bellerin, Alonso.
Alonso, that's Marco Alonso. Like, I don't understand. That nigga was benching at Chelsea and then you buy him to be your first team left
dude,
back.
that's a player that's built to be a left wing back, even. Like he's
Yeah.
designed for that formation only.
Mm. And then
So that's
Hector
I'm like,
Bellerini. Sorry, Ndogo. Hector Bellerini is
so
not wanted by Arsenal, who's not even in Champions League. And you buy him for Barcelona. Come on, guys. Hi, guys.
And you sell Serginho Dest.
Bruh. And they sold that guy from Tottenham as well. The
Greg
right
Led.
right back.
Oh yeah.
No.
Emerson
No.
Royale.
Yeah, I know. The decisions there are shocking. That's
Yeah.
shocking.
But hey, last match, guys. Togo, you're right, eh? Gerard is maybe on his way out now.
No, I said that.
shame, yeah, shame. But like Villa, I don't know how Villa lost that game, eh? I don't know how they lost. They had like, okay, Kepa. Hey, Kepa's back.
Mm.
Kepa was lying.
Mm-hmm.
Kepa
Told
was
you.
lying that game. But yeah, shame Gerard. Who do Villa have next? But yeah, I don't see Gerard making it to World Cup.
I think it's Arsenal, but you can double check.
No. I think we're playing Southampton next, which is our bogey team. You see, if Arsenal beat
Oh,
Southampton at their stadium, which is a game we always lose, then I'll start
mm.
believing that okay, this is our year. But
Mm.
until then, let me just keep quiet.
Yeah, but Gerald shame. I You see, if Aston Villa don't fire Gerald, then there's hope. There's hope for managers out here.
Mm.
Dude, Arteta has given every manager hope. Like a lot of teams are now like using Arteta as like a case study. Like you see, when you give managers a chance, blah 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 blah. So maybe we'll see a shift.
Yeah.
Villa playing Fulham next on Thursday. I think they'll give Gerrard that game. It's a must
Mm.
win. If he doesn't win that game, he's out.
Mitrovic. Mitrovic header. I just see a Mitrovic header.
Yeah. Anyway, gents, easy.
Anyway, gents, yeah. Thanks for a wonderful session. I think we'll set up some time to talk about next. Anyway, thanks to our viewers for spending the hour with us. Have a good night. Cheers.
Just